Hello Internet, Mav here, or, no wait, fuck. Hello Internet, Maverick aka Mav, because that's the new channel name I've decided. I'm more War Thunder based than I'm CSGO based these days, so the channel's mainly going to be War Thunder. And today, we're going to talk about Gaijin, briefly about Gaijin's new balancing scheme, or, yeah, whatever the fuck that thing is. There's two aircraft I want to talk about. One being the MiG-15s, the Russian ones, the German ones. And the other I would like to talk about is the R2Y2. Um, do you guys remember when there was a time where the MiG-15 was one of the scariest jets you could ever go against in a match? You know, you'd sort of hesitate. Yeah, that aircraft is now being put to 8-7. An aircraft which people were scared to fight in an F2 Sabre. And I consider the F2 Sabre to be a very good aircraft. It's fast, it's agile, it's got four 20mm cannons with very, very high velocity. I mean, what's not to love? And the MiG-15 with its clunky and nice climb rate, its nice 37 power and its 223s. The two jets went against each other very often, you know, like it was the two planes that were together all the time and were competing together at top rank. And supersonics get added. And it's almost like everyone forgets about the beloved MiG-15 and the 17. Especially the 17. I've seen more 15s than I have 17s. And we all know there's new jets coming to the game. It's obvious they're progressing and we need new supersonics to keep the game base healthy and interested. So in order for that to happen, they need to make some battle rating changes because 9.0s like the MiG-15, exactly the MiG-15, will be facing more supersonics than it will 9.0s at this point. And I think they're changing the MiG-15 because that aircraft, this flight model, is amazing. It could stay at 9.0 and I could easily fight supersonics in the thing. If you play it right, you can fight supersonics. But I think for the average player base, the 37s and the 23s on that aircraft are a little bit harder to lead for the average player. Like the F2, the cannons are a lot more user-friendly or averagely performing. Averagely. They're more average performing or easier to get used to than the 37 and the 23. So they're moving it down to 8.7 where it will club pretty much anything. I don't think that's needed. I understand there's going to be more supersonics in the game, but for you to not change the F2 as well is, I don't know what that is, but it's not right. How about instead of always finding a way to decrease a battle rating, you improve the aircraft? So like with the MiG-15, you enable its top speed to 1100, or make 37s that little bit faster. I mean, the 37 option isn't going to be a good option because everyone's used to lead and that's how they're supposed to be. It's rewarding when you get like a snipe or even a kill in those things. It is amazing. The plane is amazing. Instead of bumping it down to 8.7, why don't you just improve some of the characteristics, like mainly the speed and maybe touch on the roll rate a little bit? And I'm sure everyone will be fine with that. Instead of moving it down to about rating at 8.7 where it can fight at 7.7. In my eyes, even though it's placed at 8.7, it will still be a 9.0 regardless of what battle rating. If you do not change anything, regardless of the battle rating you put that at, it will always remain a 9.0. So you'll be fighting Seahawks, Sea Meteors, all these aircraft that are decent at their rank, but fighting a MiG-15 with the better acceleration, the players that know the 37s, the climb rate, the maneuverability at slow and high speeds, you're creating a problem. A problem that you're trying to balance out by decreasing a battle rating. Now, speaking of battle rating changes, now I've had my little rant about the MiG-15. The R2Y2, a plane that I hate with a passion, a plane that I hate and I can't get out of my head the amount of times I've been killed by that thing when I was grinding for the Hunter F1. I was playing the Mark 24 Spitfires, grinding the Hunter F1. I was repeatedly shot down by R2Y2s, and that's not because I think of myself as a terrible player or even an insane player for that fact. The airspawn. An airspawn would be fine if it was just a conventional normal bomber. But no, the R2Y2 is a fighter that's named under a bomber that carries an 800 kilogram bomb. It has 430 mils. It's fast. It's very maneuverable. In some cases, can keep up with props if you play it right, and can outturn pretty much all jets at its tier that it meets. I'm glad that Gaijin has addressed this issue, but what I do not agree with is the fact that they are taking the air spawn away, so it has to take off from the runway, moving the battle rating, all of them, up to 7.3, and I believe the last one 7.7, and keeping the repair costs ridiculously high. What's the point in having a ridiculously high repair cost if you're just starting on the floor like everyone else? There is none. That's where the R2Y2 was capped. Yes, it was annoying. Yes, it came in with its 30 mils and wiped you out and had energy and turn rate and all this and could bomb a base. But it had the repair cost there. But this is what I mean. They're not changing anything. They changed the MiG-15. They're not changing any of the flight performance. So that thing is going to absolutely clap the lower tiers. They changed the R2Y2 so it does not get an air spawn. But they keep the repair cost the same. That is not balance. That is now making players not want to play the aircraft that they'd like playing. Yeah, I could say the R2Y2 is brain dead because that's my opinion of the aircraft. I've flown it and it's pretty easy. But some people, they generally just like that aircraft. But by capping them, by taking their S-spawn away and not changing anything else about the aircraft, you are ruining one of their favourite aircraft. Now I think the R2Y2 starts on the floor. I think it is going to become it's still going to be a good aircraft, but it is not going to get to the results that it should get. If they gave it the reduction in Silver Lions, more people would play it. Because I guarantee you, as soon as they change this, the R2Y2 will not be played nearly as much because players can't be bothered to take off from a runway and just die to a climbing prop. Unless they side climb. And even in that case, you will still be overtaken by props. Gaijin is missing out on improving this game for the better. They're throwing supersonics in, they're throwing all these sick missiles in, and they're not taking the time to properly introduce the aircraft into a balanced manner. It's like they are now removing the Javelin at 9.0, which started off disastrous. It started off as a disaster. The Javelin, okay? It was a disaster. It would rip in a straight line. It still does. It caps really early. It still does. But they changed it so the wings wouldn't break when you went into a turn. And for me, that's great because you couldn't do anything in it. The thing's massive. They are placing that thing at 8.7. Although I think it's more needed for that aircraft than the MiG-15, it is still a bad idea. It has crazy acceleration. It has good high altitude performance. It has 4 missiles. It has 4 Aiden cannons. It will outspeed many things if it gets a down tier. Or an up tier. Or if you're top of the team. Whatever, let's put it that way. Gaijin is finding simple ways of putting aircraft down without fully balancing the matchmaker. And the last thing I want to touch on before this video ends is that my suspicion for them lowering these aircraft is because they are adding new aircraft, hence high tier 6, low tier 7 aircraft eventually. Which means that low tier 7s that will be at, I don't know, maybe 10.0, probably not, but there could be a few tier 7s at 10.0, will face these MiG-15s, and players will just complain about the missiles and the speed. I have no problem with people lowering battle ratings, but you need to implement or change the aircraft so that it does not wipe the floor with them. They are adding new jets soon. It is blatantly obvious. There is loads of aircraft that could be entered this patch, and they're quickly trying to fix the problem with some aircraft in the game, which I am disappointed in, if I'm going to tell you the truth. I think Gaijin has done great implementing the missiles and the supersonic jets, the only one being the T2, but there should be a balance or a counterpart coming for that soon, so they are resolving it as it goes, but they're also creating problems when they're trying to put new content in or fix other problems arise. They're taking shortcuts and it's not doing the game any favors. So on that bombshell, I think I'm done with my little rant, or my view on what's going to happen in the upcoming months, weeks, years for this game. I think that'll be very repetitive, the whole BR change, unless they balance out a lot more aircraft. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next video that should not be too far from the future. Take it easy, boys.